Namaskar, good evening viewers. It's 9 p.m. and you are watching the news on Sansad TV. I'm Rajiv Kumar Singh. We get you the details of the day's top stories from India and across the world over the next half an hour. Let's begin with the headlines. MSP panel holds its first meeting, discussion on many issues including making MSP effective and transparent. 4 groups formed to discuss issues. Farmers hold Mahapanchayat at Jantar Mantar. Home Minister addresses a Central Zonal Council meeting in Bhopal, asserts that regional councils have provided speedy solutions to developmental issues. Free and fair judicial system essential for healthy democracy, asserts Vice President Jagdeep. Dhankar, Chief Justice and Law Minister take part in ceremony organized by Supreme Court Bar Council to honor him. Flood situation worsens in North Odisha. Heavy rains disrupt normal life in many states, including Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Team India wins the third and final ODI against Zimbabwe by 13 runs. Shubman Gill scores first century of his career. Let us now quickly look at some other important news. Prime Minister Modi to visit Haryana and Punjab on 24th of August to dedicate Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre to the nation at Mohali. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan co-chairs Australia-India Education Council meet with Australian counterpart Jason Clare at Western Sydney University. On 3-day visit to Nagaland, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman attends Nagaland Corporate Social Responsibility and Investment Conclave at Kohima. CBI starts preliminary probe into corruption allegations in the procurement of 1,000 low-floor buses by Delhi government. Supreme Court issues notice to Gujarat government on Teesta Setalwar's interim bail plea in case related to the 2002 Gujarat riots. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar unveils Mahatma Gandhi's bust in Paraguay. Russian Federal Security Service detains a suicide bomber of ISIS for reportedly plotting a terrorist attack against India's leadership elite. Jaishankar responds to border row with China, says problem has not been resolved. 3 law enforcement officers suspended in Arkansas, USA over video that shows them pinning a suspect to the ground and beating him. Raila Odinga, who came second in Kenya's presidential election, challenges the result. Now, let us trace the monsoon situation in the nation. Flood situation remains grim in Himachal Pradesh. 22 people, including 8 members of a family, were killed and 12 others injured in 36 incidents of landslides and flash floods in the state. Mandi district is the worst hit, where 13 people have died and 5 persons are feared dead in incidents of flash floods and landslides. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur visited the flood-hit areas in Mandi district to take stock of the situation. He announced a 4 lakh rupees compensation for families of those killed in the floods. He ordered rebuilding of houses, repair work of damaged roads. He also directed authorities to expeditiously restore power and water supply. Flood situation in North Odisha is worsening due to heavy rainfall during the last 3 days. All the rivers in northern Odisha, including Subarnrekha, Budhabalang, Jalaka, Baitarni, are in spate due to heavy rain caused by a deep depression over the Bay of Bengal. Many low-lying areas have been inundated in the region. Authorities in Balasore and Mayurbhanj districts are carrying out a massive evacuation drive to shift people from vulnerable areas to safer locations. Rescue and relief operations are underway in many other districts as well. The Met Department has forecast heavy rain in northern Odisha district on Tuesday. Odisha is already reeling under the impact of moderate flood in the Mahanadi river system, which has affected over 8 lakh people. And now let us take a look at the flood situation in other parts of the country. Heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours has led to flood-like situation in several districts in Rajasthan. Low-lying areas have submerged due to the downpour and water released from Kota barrage. Kota, Jhalawar, Bundi, Baran, Chittorgarh, Savai Madhopur, Dausa and Karoli recorded heavy to very heavy rainfall. The Met Department has issued a warning of heavy to very heavy rainfall at some places in East Rajasthan. Madhya Pradesh is also being lashed by heavy rains for the past 3 days. Rivers, drains and other water bodies are in spate in large parts of the state. Gates of many dams were opened to release water. Schools have been closed in some districts including Bhopal and Jabalpur. The IMD has issued a red alert predicting heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places in western parts of the state. In Bihar, Ganga and other rivers are in spate due to incessant rains in the state. The river Ganga is flowing near the danger mark in Bhojpur and Patna, with Gandhi Ghat and Krishna Ghat being submerged in the state capital. People are being evacuated to safer places. The Met Department has issued an alert for heavy rains in 20 districts. Farmers from several states gathered in large numbers at the Jantar Mantar in New Delhi to take part in the Mahapanchayat called by Sanyukta Kisan Morcha. The Sanyukta Kisan Morcha said that the farmers deliberated on their demands that included a legal guarantee on the minimum support price for crops and the cancellation of the Electricity Amendment Bill 2022, among others. The protest caused massive traffic snarls, especially at the city's entry points. Security was beefed up, especially at the borders, in view of the massive gathering. The protest took place on the day the Committee on MSP formed 4 subgroups on mandated topics, including making MSP more effective and transparent, in its first meeting on Monday. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Monday chaired the 23rd Central Zonal Council meeting in Bhopal. He said that Modi government has made continuous efforts to strengthen federalism in the country. He stated that the speed of resolution of problems has increased due to the continuous meetings of the Interstate Council. He added that the states are also adopting each other's good efforts. He informed that a total of 30 issues were discussed in the last meeting held in Raipur, out of which 26 issues have been resolved. The Central Zonal Council comprises Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Chief Ministers of UP and Chhattisgarh participated in the meeting virtually, while CMs of MP and Uttarakhand took part in the meeting in Bhopal. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has said that a strong, fair and independent justice system is the safest guarantee to flourishing of democratic values. He said this while addressing a ceremony organized by Supreme Court Bar Association to felicitate him on becoming the Vice President. He added that people in authority and high positions should keep law above everything in larger public interests. Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju and Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Ramana, were present among others.
Is finally strong, fair and independent justice system is safest guarantee to blossoming and flourishing of democratic values. Dignity of judges and respect for judiciary is inviolable.
On to business and economy section. India on Monday handed over 21,000 tons of fertilizer to Sri Lanka under a special support program that will help farmers in the country and help bolster bilateral cooperation for food security. It is the second such assistance in recent months to the crisis-hit island nation. It follows 44,000 tons supplied last month. The Indian support for Sri Lanka has totaled about $4 billion in 2022. A committee to induce transparency and efficiency in the minimum support price system announced by the Prime Minister held its first meeting on Monday. The committee discussed ways to promote zero-budget-based farming and tracked states' performance to analyze best practices, while the Sanyukta Kisan Morcha skipped the meet. Agro-economists, award-winning farmers, members of agri-universities and senior government officers attended the proceedings. Britain recorded its biggest fall in output in over 300 years in 2020 when it faced the brunt of COVID-19 pandemic. Updated official figures show on Monday. Britain's GDP fell by 11% in 2020, its highest fall since 1709. This is even worse than Spain, which saw a 10.8% fall in output, though Britain's economy bounced back sharply last year and recovered its pre-pandemic size in November 2021. Fears of an impending recession looms large. Investors lost nearly 6.5 lakh crore during trading as the BSE Sensex tumbled 872 points to close at 58,773, while NSE Nifty closed 1.5% to close at 17,419 following a weak global trends. Auto, realty and metal indices fell 2% each, while IT and capital goods stocks lost 1% each. BSE mid-cap and small-cap indices lost 1%. Analysts say markets could remain volatile in upcoming sessions owing to falling global crude oil prices and geopolitical tensions over Taiwan. It was a red day for markets worldwide, with European and American markets down by 2%, while Asian markets dropped around 1%. Taiwan, Kospi, Hang Seng and Nikkei 225 all went down by nearly 1%. Shanghai Composite remained steady with gains of up to 0.6%. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has left for Canada after a fruitful visit to the Netherlands. Birla is leading the Indian parliamentary delegation to the 65th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference being held at Halifax in Canada. Addressing the Indian community in the Netherlands, Om Birla said that the two nations share strong political, economic and cultural ties. He added that the Indian community in the Netherlands is strengthening the economy and society. He also talked about socio-economic progress in India and relevance of digital India, startups and innovations. The Lok Sabha Speaker also visited the countryside in the Netherlands and saw precision farming practices used by Indian origin farmers on commercial scale. He praised their approach to farming with the use of limited agriculture inputs and innovative techniques. On his arrival, Birla called on President of the Senate of Netherlands, Jan Anthony Bruijn. The two leaders exchanged views about enhancing parliamentary cooperation and expanding economic and cultural relations. We slip into a short break here. On the other side, Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan granted protective bail in terror case.
India became free 75 years ago. We all know we have fundamental rights. Do you also know we have fundamental duties? The duty towards our nation, to defend the country and render national services when called upon to do so. Jai Hind.
What is India's perspective on global issues? How is India navigating its bilateral and multilateral relations? How do we decode foreign policy? And what is the impact India is having on the world? For an in-depth analysis of international affairs, watch Diplomatic Dispatch with me, Vikas Baru, only on Sansad TV.
Welcome back to the news. Time now for all the big developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Russian Defense Ministry said that its forces used hypersonic Kinzhal missile system 3 times in Ukraine to hit highly important targets. Russia claims the missile system has a speed of Mach 10 with a range of 2,000 kilometers and can maneuver during flight to evade radar detection and air defense systems. Russia fired rockets at towns close to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant early on Monday. Regional Governor Valentin Reznikchenko said Russian forces struck the 3 districts of Nikopol, Prizovich and Sinelkiv, close to Europe's largest nuclear plant, triggering fears of a nuclear disaster. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that Russia might put captured Ukrainian soldiers from Mariupol on public trial on Ukraine's Independence Day. On Wednesday, he warned that there would be no negotiations in the show trial was carried out. He also said that Russian attacks could escalate in the run-up to Ukraine's 31st anniversary of independence from the Soviet rule. He added that he has informed his allies, including French President Emmanuel Macron and Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Russian President Vladimir Putin, of course, lauded Russia's flags as a symbol of a country that is determined to defend its interests and remain loyal to traditional values. Speaking on National Flag Day, Putin also echoed some of the earlier justifications cited by Moscow for invading Ukraine. He said that Russia is firm on pursuing in the international arena only those policies that meet the fundamental interests of the motherland. The daughter of an ultra-nationalist Russian ideologue, Alexander Dugin, who called for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, was killed in a suspected car bomb attack outside Moscow on Saturday evening. Daria Dugina was killed after a suspected explosive device detonated on the Toyota Land Cruiser she was traveling in.
Daughter of a Russian nationalist ideologist, often called Putin's brain, was killed when her car exploded on the outskirts of Moscow. The Saturday night blast was reportedly caused by a bomb planted in the SUV driven by Daria Dugina. The 29-year-old was the daughter of Alexander Dugin, a prominent proponent of Russian world concept ideology and a vehement supporter of Russia sending troops into Ukraine. He expressed similar views and had been a commentator on the nationalist TV channel. According to political analysts, the incident was perceived to be an act of intimidation, showing to people of Russia that the danger of the situation in Ukraine was not only something abstract seen on TV, but in fact closer to home. The explosion took place as Dugina was returning from a cultural festival that she had attended with her father. Some reports cited witnesses as saying the vehicle belonged to her father and that he had decided at the last minute to leave in another car. No suspects were immediately identified. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Time now for some other global updates. The United States and South Korea on Monday kicked off their biggest combined military training in years as the allies heightened their defense posture against the growing North Korea nuclear threat. The drills could draw an angry response from North Korea, which has dialed up its weapons testing activity to a record pace this year.
The United States and South Korea began their biggest combined military training in years on Monday. The Ulchi Freedom Shield exercises will continue till 1st September. The field exercises involve aircraft, warships, tanks and potentially tens of thousands of troops. Washington and Seoul are describing the exercises as defensive, but North Korea portrays them as invasive rehearsals and has used them to justify its nuclear weapons and missiles development. A South Korean civic group staged a rally outside the Defense Ministry building to call for an immediate suspension of the drills. The drills came after North Korea last week dismissed South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's offer to exchange denuclearization steps and economic benefits, accusing Seoul of recycling proposals Pyongyang has long rejected. The exercise has been mainly focusing on computer stimulation maneuvers, but the ministry said this year's exercise was designed to practice outdoor maneuvers as well. The two sides had scaled back combined military drills in recent years due to COVID-19. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan was granted protective bail till Thursday by the Islamabad High Court in a terrorism case registered against him for threatening police, judiciary and other state institutions during a rally on Saturday. Imran Khan was booked on Sunday after the Anti-Terrorism Act.
Dozens of supporters of Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan gathered on Monday outside his residence in Islamabad, pledging to prevent his arrest on anti-terrorism accusations. The protesters chanted slogans against the government of Prime Minister Shah Sharif that took over after Imran Khan lost a confidence vote in April. The move follows a police case filed against Khan on Saturday for threatening government officials in a public speech about the alleged police torture of one of his aides, who faces sedition charges for inciting mutiny in the powerful military. According to the police report, Imran Khan said he would not spare Islamabad's police chief and a female judge for the arrest of his aide. Legal experts said the public threats put the officials' lives at stake and amounted to threatening the state, so the anti-terrorism charges applied. Earlier in the day, Khan, chairman of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, moved the court seeking pre-arrest bail in the case. Khan could face several years in prison from the new charges, which accuse him of threatening police officers and the judge under the country's Sedition Act. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And in other stories from the world, Singapore is decriminalizing sex between men by repealing a colonial-era law while protecting the city-state's definition of marriage. Addressing the annual National Day rally, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said he believed it is the right thing to do now, as most Singaporeans will now accept it. He said that the government will amend the constitution to ensure that there can be no constitutional challenge to allow same-sex marriage. Security forces ended a siege by Al-Qaeda-linked militants at a hotel in Somalia's capital, in which more than 20 people were killed and dozens injured. Dozens of people who had been taken hostage in the standoff at the Hyatt Hotel in Mogadishu were freed. Elite armed forces battled the militants for 30 hours since Friday evening. Authorities said they confirmed 21 dead people and 117 others were injured. The 3 attackers were shot dead. A flash flood hit Afghanistan's eastern province of Logar on Saturday, left at least 20 people dead and 30 injured. The heavy rain-incurred flood has also forced hundreds of families to evacuate. Local residents said it was the worst flood they have seen in 30 years. The flood had also destroyed hundreds of hectares of farmland in the province's Kushi district and its vicinity. More than 27 million students wearing masks returned to schools across the Philippines on Monday after 2 years of coronavirus lockdowns. The time away from the classroom is feared to have worsened one of the world's most alarming illiteracy rates among children. Only about 46% of the country's schools would be able to open in-person classes 5 times a week, while the rest would still resort to mix of in-person and online classes under November. Iran has said that the United States has not yet provided the European Union with a response to its proposal to salvage the 2015 nuclear deal. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman said the American administration hasn't yet responded to the proposal by the European side. He added that the talks can't be called fruitful unless the US responds to the proposal. The EU has been the go-between the indirect talks as Iran refuses to negotiate directly with America. Time now for all the sporting action. The Supreme Court has directed the Committee of Administrators appointed to oversee the affairs of the All India Football Federation should cease to exist. The Supreme Court said that it is modifying its earlier order to facilitate holding of Under-17 Women's World Cup in India and revocation of a suspension of AIFF by the International Football Federation. India defeated Zimbabwe by 13 runs in the third and the final ODI. Sikandar Raza's knock of 115 runs fails to stop India from completing 3-0 sweep. Shubman Gill ended his long wait to score his first international century as he reached the three-figure mark in the third ODI against Zimbabwe in Harare. Gill scored 130 in 97 balls with 15 fours and a six. Lakshya Sen trounced Danish hand Christian Solberg Vittigers in straight games to progress to the men's singles second round at BWF World Championships. Lakshya won 21-12, 21-11. Chess prodigy R. Pragnananda beat world champion Magnus Carlsen again, finishes a runner-up at the FTX Crypto Cup. Croatian Borna Coric won the Cincinnati Masters, beating world number 7 Stefano Tsitsipas 7-6, 6-2 in the final. Coric, who entered the tournament ranked 152nd in the world, had a dream week, beating 5 consecutive top 20 opponents. That's all in today's news. You stay tuned to Sansad TV. Good night.